Before we begin today's video, I have a few disclaimers. First, this deck is not meant to be competitive. It's only meant to be played for fun, and boy is it fun. And secondly, this deck does not have a win condition. You'll soon realize what I mean by that, but before you do, I'd like to ask you to share this video with your friends and your favorite content creators, because I'd really like for this deck to get an interesting win condition, but I just cannot think of one myself. And if we all work together as a community, I think we can do it. I'll explain more as the video goes on, but what would you say to me if I told you that there was a deck in which you always knew what card you're about to draw? And not only that, but you always knew what cards are in your opponent's hand and what your opponent will draw for their turn. But for this deck to work, you need to change into a Tarzan from GX.
I change for better. Just like I know what come next in Wave, I realize I can know what come next in cards. Must simply be in tune with nature.
So to be in tune with nature, you absolutely have to play Convulsion of Nature. It's a continuous spell with the following effect. As long as this card remains face up on the field, both players must turn their respective decks upside down and proceed with the current duel. So you'll always know what card is on top of your deck and what card is on top of your opponent's deck. And you might think this card is bad because it's unsearchable and it does nothing by itself, but then I'd like to introduce you to Top Share, a normal spell with the following effect. Reveal one card from your deck and place it on top of your deck. Then your opponent reveals one card from their deck and places it on top of their deck. You can only activate one Top Share per turn. So this card can basically search any card in the entire game as long as you can draw into it. This means that you can even search Convulsion of Nature. But you might not want to give your opponent the best card that they can draw into, so if you already have Convulsion in your hand, you can activate Top Share first to stack your and your opponent's decks, then you can draw into the cards that you stacked on top of your deck, and finally you can activate Convulsion of Nature to put their best card on the bottom of their deck. Now at this point you might think that this is all fine and dandy, but how are we gonna draw into the cards? And in words of great Tarzan from GX, obviously you also must be in tune with the waters. Introducing Gishki Diviner, a level 3 water sea serpent effect monster with 1200 attack and 800 defense and the following effect. Once per turn you can declare one card name, reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's the declared card, add it to your hand, otherwise return it to the top of your deck. This card's effect isn't a hard once per turn. This means that if you can summon it multiple times in a turn, you can activate and resolve its effect as much as you like. And because it's a level 3 sea serpent, you can special summon it from your deck with a Deep Sea Diva. You can also search it with Atlantean Dragoons, and you can bring it back from your graveyard with cards like Surface and Marine's Coral Anemone. Another interesting thing about Gishki Diviner, who I'll henceforth refer to as Tarzan, is that if you don't guess the top card of your deck correctly, it still goes on top of your deck. This means that if you can summon another one without shuffling your deck, you will always know what card to call next. But you don't even have to summon another one, and you can just play Archfiend Zote, a continuous spell with the following effect. Once per turn you can pay 500 life points, then declare one card name. Excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's the declared card, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. So you can basically look at the top card of your deck with Diviner, then pick it up with Archfiend Zote. And you might also notice that Archfiend Zote isn't hard once per turn. This means that if you have multiple copies, you will be able to use all of them, and also if you can bounce it back to your hand, you can use it again. And yet another card that works very similarly is the True Name, a normal spell with the following effect. Declare one card name, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's the declared card, add it to your hand. Then you can add to your hand or special summon one Divine monster from your deck, otherwise send it to the graveyard. You can only activate one the True Name per turn. Even though it's a once per turn effect, it still could be a decent card in Tarzan, and you can use it to special summon a Divine from your deck, or even search a Sphere mode if you'd like. But where all of these cards come together is Magellanica the Deep City. It's a field spell whose name is always treated as Zoomy, and it has a following effect. When this card is activated, you can place one water monster from your deck on top of your deck. Once per turn you can target one water monster you control, increase its level by 1 or 2 until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Once per turn during your main phase, if you special summon a water synchro monster, you can look at your opponent's hand, and if you do, banish one card from it face up until the end phase. So not only can this card help us stack the deck to get to our Divas and Diviners and whatever other water monster we might like at that particular point, but it also allows us to look at our opponent's hand and then banish one card from it until the end phase. And none of these effects are once per turn either, so we can use any of them as much as we like. Before I show you some combos, I'd like to show you a game that I had versus branded despia, so enjoy! Fortunately, we are gonna be going first in this game. So we're gonna start off by activating Minstrel, discarding it and the Dragoons, so we can look at our opponent's hand and banish one card from their hand until the end phase. So we see that they kind of bricked, they only have branded in red and Aluber and Tragedy, so nothing really that great. So we can activate Dragoons here to add a Diva to our hand. And then we can safely normal summon Diva because we know that they have no hand traps, and if they did have hand traps we would have banished them by the effect of Minstrel. So yeah, we can use the effect of Diva, summon the Diviner here, then we can use Convulsion of Nature to flip our decks face up. Now I already know that they are gonna draw into a branded opening, and because they already have Aluber and they have the Despian Tragedy, they really don't have any value from this card, so we're gonna just leave it at that. Next, we're gonna use the effect of Diviner, declaring the double summon, and then we're gonna draw into it. From here, I see that we have a Prohibition on top of our deck, but I don't really want to draw into that yet, so we're gonna go into a Fiber, then summon a Fishborg Launcher from the deck. We're gonna link it away into a Linkuriboh, and then because we only have waters in the graveyard, we can special summon it back. But unfortunately it gets banished when it leaves the field. Here we can use the effect of Surface, special summon back the Diviner. Then unfortunately, because I plan to go into a Saryuja here, I have to draw into this Minstrel even though it doesn't do as much. So we're gonna use the effect of Diviner, call Minstrel, draw it. Then we can summon a Saryuja, draw 4. And another interesting interaction between Convulsion and Saryuja is if you don't have Convulsion face up, but you have many good cards in your hand that you don't want to get stuck in your deck, you can first activate the effect of Saryuja, then put cards that you would like to draw into on the bottom of your deck, then activate Convulsion of Nature, and then arrange your draws in such a way that you draw all the useful cards, because they will be at the top of your deck when the Convulsion resolves. So anyways, we're gonna resolve the effect of Saryuja, then we can use the effect of Saryuja to special summon the Neptabis. We can use the effect of Neptabis, pitch Dragoons, add Dragoons, then Dragoons can activate to add us another Diva. You might notice that we have a double summon here, so we can activate it to summon another Diva, and it can summon us another Diviner from the deck. Now we can use the effect of Diviner, and unfortunately Diva was on top of our deck, so this also isn't the greatest draw, but it's fine. And here is where I cheated. This wasn't intentional, I swear. I summon Akashic Magician by using the Diviner and the Saryuja, and I needed to use two monsters with the same type except tokens, so yeah, that wasn't the greatest thing ever. But also our opponent cheated as well, as you'll see later, so I guess it evens out. Then I'm gonna go into Coral Anemone, and here I use the second effect of Akashic Magician, but it wasn't co-linked, so this was another illegal play. But basically, if you summon Akashic Magician and it's co-linked, you get an extra Tarzan effect, because you can declare one card name, excavate the top card of your deck, equal to the total link of the link monsters co-linked to this card. Then if you activated the copies of the declared card, you can add them to your hand and send the rest to the graveyard. Now, because we know that we have Archfiend Oath on top of our deck, we can use the effect of Akashic here, even though it's illegal, but ignore it for the sake of the video. We're gonna call Archfiend's Oath. We get to add that to our hand. Next, we can use the effect of Archfiend's Oath, call another Oath. Then we can yet again play the Archfiend's Oath, go into Prohibition. Next, we can use the effect of Coral Anemone, and henceforth we are locked into waters. We can summon another Diviner, draw into the extra Convulsion of Nature, and from here we can just activate double Prohibitions and say Aluber and Brandy Red. And because our opponent doesn't have anything else to play around with, they are basically stuck with this. Now, they're gonna get back the Aluber. They're gonna start off by activating Branded Opening. They can summon the Adliptum of Despia, and with the Despian Tragedy they can pick up another Aluber, which they are prohibited from summoning, so that's great. So they're gonna attempt to summon the Aluber here. I tell them that they cannot do that because Prohibition prohibits them from using it whatsoever, so they couldn't even use it for a fusion material. So if you want, you can call Fallen of Albas with it, and they cannot use any fusions that have Fallen of Albas in the name. So this is a pretty good card against the Despia anyways. But yeah, they're gonna summon the Light Hex Sealed Fusion instead, and then they're gonna link away into a Verte Anaconda. This is also an illegal play because they used Branded Opening this turn, but I just forgot, so I let them do that. They're gonna activate Verte, pay 2000, send the Fusion Destiny, send Dasher and Celestial, go into DPE, attack over our Akashic Magician, and they're gonna set the Branded in red and Cold Buy and pass it back to us. Now from here, the fun begins. We can activate the Diviner, draw into the Ogopogo. We can activate Archfiend's Oath, draw into Magellanica. Now we can activate Magellanica. And then using the effect of Magellanica, we can stack a Lapis Dragon on top of our deck. Now, because we have a Lapis Dragon, we can use the second Archfiend's Oath to draw into it. And if it's added to our hand by a card effect, we can special summon it. So we'll special summon the Lapis Dragon, we'll normal summon the Diva, and they're gonna use Called by the Grave to banish the Diva from the graveyard, which I find weird because they could have just banished Tarzan, but oh well. So yeah, they're gonna do that. We're gonna activate Magellanica here to, I believe, get one more level on Diviner. They're gonna chain DPE to destroy the prohibition that's prohibiting them from using Branded in Red. So yeah, they're gonna activate Branded in Red, add Tragedy to their hand, then they're gonna fuse away with the Worthy Anaconda, Aluber, and the Tragedy. They couldn't have done this because they are still prohibited from using Aluber, but I just blanked on it, so it doesn't really matter. They're gonna go into Guardian Chimera, they're gonna get to add the Aluber from the Tragedy, and then they're gonna draw 2 and destroy our Lapis Dragon. Now, this is where the fun begins actually, because now our Diva is a level 2 and our Diviner is a level 4, so we can synchro for a 6, and here comes Duloran, the Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. So we can basically put all of our cards back into our hand, and we can reactivate the Convulsion of Nature, then activate Archfiend's Oath again. Using the effect of Archfiend's Oath, we can pick off the surface. We can even activate the Monster Reborn, summon the DP, use the effect of DP, destroying our Convulsion and their Guardian Chimera. They're gonna banish Branded Opening to protect it, which is absolutely fine. We're gonna activate Surface, summon another Diviner. Then they're gonna quit the game, but I'm just gonna continue playing for no reason. So we're gonna summon another Diviner, then I don't know, we can stack the deck with Top Share to get Archfiend's Oath, then we can use the effect of the other Diviner to draw into the Archfiend's Oath, then we can activate Archfiend's Oath, calling double summon to draw another one. I guess we'll link away into Abyssalica, it really does not matter. We can activate Archfiend's Oath to add a true name, we can activate the Magellanica here to stack our deck for the Abystius, because we have a Dragoon, so we can activate True Name here, add the Abystius, we can discard the Dragoon for the Abystius. Using the effect of Dragoon, we can add another Minstrel, and yeah, you can see the snowball effect that this deck can do. So yep, let's move on with the video.
I new person now. I live in the nature. I hone my skills.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Numel, this deck is already broken, why do you need our help? Well, basically this deck has no win condition. We have so many interesting ways to draw into a win condition, but we just don't have one. You could say that Prohibition is a good win con and that maybe we can even include Mind Crush or something like that. But I just don't feel that that's good enough. And I guess we could summon Mulan Glacier and hand loop our opponent, but at that point we're just playing a worst Mermail. I've also tried including Bujinki Akashima, Bahamut Shark, and Totally Awesome to summon off of our Dragoons. But yet again, I feel like we would be better off playing Mermails at that point. We can also do the Auroradon Hulky Fibrax play, but I feel like that's just a big waste. This deck is so interesting that I don't wanna sully it with a generic stupid engine like that. And because I've basically exhausted all of my options, I'm asking for your help. Show this deck to your friends, show this deck to your favorite content creators, tweet about it, post it on Facebook, post it on Reddit, post it anywhere you want. I want as many people involved with this as possible. We need to find a good win condition for Tarzan, please. I'm issuing this deck build challenge to the entire YGO community. If you have any idea on what the win con of the deck could be, make a video on it and tag me, or if you don't want to make a video, just leave a comment down below. I only want this win condition to be as original as the deck is, so nothing too generic. I'm so looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with. For now, I'll show you the deck profiles, I'll show you some interesting interactions, and I'll show you some of the cards that you can consider including in the deck. The most basic combo that you can do with this deck is basically build your own upstart goblins. So if you only have Diva, you can use it to special summon a Diviner from the deck. Then you can use the effect of Tarzan here, let's say Convulsion of Nature. Well, that's unfortunate. It goes back on top of our deck, then we can link them away to go into Coral Anemone, then using the effect of Coral Anemone we can bring back the Tarzan, then we can use the effect of Tarzan yet again, and we can call Surface, so yeah, that's how we draw the card. Now, of course, many of the combos will be more complicated than this one, but if you really don't have anything else, this is the most basic thing that you can do. Now, just by having Magellanica level modulation effects, you can do a lot of different stuff depending on what's in your hand. But in this example, we're gonna use Diva, special summon a Diviner from the deck. Using the effect of Tarzan here, we can just blindly call anything, or we can stack our deck with Magellanica. So if you had a double summon here, you can stack another Diva on top of your deck, so you can use the double summon to summon it onto the field. Or if you had a way to discard the Dragoons, then you might want to stack a Dragoons on top of your deck. Even if you do not, you can just summon Deep Sea Repetitor, and then you can use its effect to discard the Dragoons that you add off of the Diviner, and then get the extra search off of that. But in this instance, we'll just stack a Lapis Dragon on top of our deck, then we'll use the effect of Tarzan, we'll say Lapis Dragon, it gets added to our hand, we can special summon it here. Next, we can add 2 levels onto either Diva or Diviner, it doesn't really matter. Or you can just use the Lapis Dragon and the Diviner to go into the Dragite here. But let's just say we don't want to do that yet, so we can modify those levels. These add up to 7 now, so we can summon a Prima Donna. Now on summon of Prima Donna, we can use Magellanica. We get to look at their hand and banish 1 card from their hand. Yet again, depending on what you might need, you can use the effect of Prima Donna, shuffle the card, give them back the card that we just banished. And here you can, for instance, summon out the Prince. Then you can go with Lapis Dragon and the Prince into a Duloran. Or another interesting thing that you can do is summon a Tarzan. Now, using the effect of Tarzan, we'll blindly call here, let's say, Convulsion of Nature. This is because I am one with the nature. You might not be so fortunate, but yeah, okay. So yeah, you blindly call this card. Then you can, because Prima Donna is because Prima Donna is a tuner, you can synchro summon with it and the Diviner to go into your Baron de Fleur. You can alternatively, if you had a level 10 water synchro instead of Baron, what you could do here is link the Lapis Dragon. It goes to the graveyard. You can link the Lapis Dragon and the Diviner to go into Coral Anemone, then bring back the Diviner, call the proper card, then synchro for the appropriate 7. Or you can even go into Hulk, then summon the Seryuja and go from there. Moving on to the next one. As always, the best combo is Chainlink 1, like, Chainlink 2, subscribe. Thank you! The reason this deck is so interesting is because it has no linear combo lines. Every hand is different, and I'll just show you a couple of interactions. So as you saw in the game, if you have a bunch of face-up continuous spells and traps, you can, for instance, normal summon Neptabis, send the Dragoons to add the Dragoons, and then the Dragoons from the graveyard can add you a Lapis Dragon to your hand. Then because you added it by a card effect, you can special summon it, and because it's a tuner and Neptabis is a non-tuner and it's a level 1, you can summon a Duloran. And then you can bounce back as many cards as you'd like to your hand. So if you, for instance, have prohibitions for some of the cards that they discarded or they don't intend on using, or that they are useless to them, you can just bounce back the prohibitions, and then you can just reactivate them and declare new card names with them. So you can do that to mess with your opponent. Also, you can bounce back your Archfiend's Oath and also Magellanica, so this would allow you to stack your deck for any waters that you might like. Archfiend's Oath would draw you extra cards, and another way that you can make Duloran easily is the same way I did it in the example game, is by normal summoning Diva, summoning out a Diviner, then using the effect of Magellanica to modify the levels of either one of these cards so that they add up to 6. So for instance, you can add a level to a Diviner or even to a Diva, and then yet again go into a Duloran and do the same play all over again. So here we are with my current Tarzan build, and this is pretty much the most basic list you can run. So we're running triple Dragoons. We can discard them off of our Minstrels to look at our opponent's hand. We are also running one Ogopogo. This is just an extra search off of Dragoons if we discard more than one. We're running triple Divas and triple Tarzans, one Fishborg launcher to summon off of our Hulk, one Lapis Dragon, we can only use once per turn, so it's fine at one. One Abystius just as an extra body and a discard for Dragoon, and only one Prince. This is because I don't want this deck to turn into Mermail Atlanteans, so only one is good enough. We are running triple Oath, triple Convulsion, triple double summon. You don't have to run 3 honestly, and the new card that just got revealed is an extra double summon, so if you draw into a double summon and Catherine on the same turn, you can basically normal summon Diva 3 times in the same turn. Next we have triple Magellanica, one Monster Reborn, and triple Prohibition, triple Surface to bring back our Diviners or our Tuners if we so choose to, one Terraforming just to deck in and to search our Magellanica, one The True Name, and double Top Share. In the extra deck we have one Dragite just as a negation, because we can choose what we want to negate because we know all of our opponent's cards. One Baron, also a negation. One Prima Donna, this is to summon our Diviners as you saw. One Repetitor, this is if you have Diva and Diviner and want to discard a Dragoon. One Duloran, as you basically have seen that this card has the most amazing value ever. One Croco Dragon, you can summon this by using double Diviner and one Diva, so you can draw 2 cards with it. One White Aura Veil, just for going second, it's pretty easy to make and it's pretty devastating, so yep. One Akashic Magician, you can co-link this by using Relinquished Anima as your level 1 monster that you can summon off of Fishborg Blaster, but it's kind of hard to use, but yeah, I guess it fits thematically. One Appaloosa, one Halkifybrex, one Area, this is just a generic link to, I don't know what to put here honestly, and also Abyssalica isn't the greatest card ever. One Coral Anemone, this is pretty decent to bring back your Diviners. One Saryuja, you could consider running more than one, but I don't think that you need more than that, and just your link one that requires Fishborg launcher basically. These are some suggestions that you could run. We have Foolish Burial and Archfiend Eris. You can use Foolish Burial to send the Eris and then you can search Archfiend's Oath with it. Also you can search for Sphere Mode with the True Name, or you can special summon Slifer, but keep in mind that it's destroyed during the end phase. Next, this package you can also consider running. You can summon a Hashima by using your Fishborg launcher and your Neptabis. Then you can special summon a Dragoon from your graveyard and your hand to go into Bahamut by detaching from Bahamut to summon the Toad. You can activate the effect of Dragoons to search out another card, but I am just very much not impressed with this. Next, you can also consider running Deep Sea Aria to search your Sea Serpents. You have many of them. As you can see, Minstrels and Diviners and Divas. Also, Ice Mirror can special summon you an extra copy of Diviner, but it locks you out of the extra deck, so I really haven't found a way to remove the Diviner that I summon off of Ice Mirror, but if you want to go for a stun variant, I guess that this could be a useful card. Next we have Mullen Glacia. This is also a win condition that you can consider running, but I really do not like it. DD Designator and Mind Crush and Lullaby of Obedience, those are interesting cards that you can run. If you can make, I'll say, the Sylvan High Protector, it could also be pretty useful, and there is also one more engine that you can consider running. So this is the other engine that I was talking about. You can run Soul Servant to place one card that lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text from your deck on top of your deck, and then also you can banish it from the graveyard to draw cards equal to the number of Palladium monsters on the field and in the graveyard. So what you could basically do is stack the Illusion of Chaos on top, then draw into it, then you can place whatever on top of your deck, let's say Illusion of Chaos, it doesn't really matter, you can draw into it yet again. Then you could use Magician Souls to throw Oracle Mana into the graveyard, then you can banish the Soul Servant to draw an additional card, and then you could use Magician Soul to send some of your continuous spells that you might not need in order to draw extra cards, but I'm not really impressed with this engine, honestly. You can try it out, there's probably something cool that you can do with it. Also there's Mahat, which is basically Tarzan times 3, but you really have to guess the top 3 cards of your deck, which can be done if you stack the bottom of your deck with Saryuja and then you use Convulsion of Nature. But then again, Maat is pretty hard to summon, but you might be able to do it. I really haven't found a way to make this great. And that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. And also, I'd like each and every one of you to at least attempt to play this deck because it's so much fun. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!